Welcome to the 7 Shifts audio series. Audio series is an oral version of 7 Shifts blog posts, created to help restaurant owners and operators learn new ways to simplify their lives. From labor management to operations to marketing and everything in between, the 7 Shifts blog has you covered.
Hello, and welcome to 7 Shifts audio series. Simple, smart ideas for restaurant workers, owners, and operators to grow their businesses and to make their lives easier. 7 Shifts is a scheduling software made to simplify labor management one shift at a time. We help restaurants improve performance, freeing up time for managers to focus on serving their customers. Today, we're going to talk about moving up in the restaurant industry. More specifically, how to grow in your career so you can advance into a management position. First, let's address where you are now, so we can discuss what you'll need to do and what you'll need to learn to get to where you want to be. Does this sound like you? You've been working as a server, bartender, host, or busser for some time. You love the restaurant industry, and you're looking to develop your career, take on more responsibility, and become a leader. But you have a lot of questions. How do you start moving up? What are the restaurant management skills you need to succeed, and how do you get them? Is it hard to get the right training? Do you need to earn a degree? Before we dive into answering all those questions in detail, let me share a little bit of good news. According to the National Restaurant Association, there will be 1.6 million new restaurant jobs created by 2029. At the same time, managers still cite hiring and turnover as their number one concern in a survey by the Restaurant News. The big difference between the number of jobs and the number of qualified candidates to fill them means there's a lot of opportunity to move up the ladder if you want to. And if you think you need a formal education to get there, think again. That's not always the case. In fact, according to the same survey by the National Restaurant Association, 9 in 10 managers say they got their start in an entry-level position. Think you have what it takes to be a manager? Well, let's take a look at what a restaurant manager does, what skills they need, and how to brush up on those skills. First, you may be asking, what exactly does a restaurant manager do? To put it simply, a restaurant manager is responsible for the day-to-day operation of a restaurant. According to Indeed.com and the Bureau of Labor Statistics, or BLS for short, a restaurant manager is responsible for the following jobs. They hire the front-of-house staff, and depending on the type of restaurant, the back-of-house staff as well. If there's a head chef, the chef may handle the hiring and management of the kitchen staff. They build staff schedules, sign off on hours, and oversee payroll. That is, if the restaurant doesn't have a central accounts payable person or a department. They make sure the front of the house and the bar, if there is one, is stocked. If they work in a quick service restaurant, or QSR for short, otherwise known as a fast food restaurant, they make sure the kitchen is stocked too. They also make sure employees are following company rules and protocols. In smaller establishments, they may plan the menu. They act as the intermediary or middleman between the staff and the restaurant's owners, or its corporate headquarters if it has one. They manage budgets and submit profitability reports. And finally, they attend meetings and give input on how to improve restaurant profitability. According to the BLS, food service managers, which include restaurant managers, earn a median pay of $54,240 per year, and they usually hold a high school diploma, though that's not always the case. So now that we've gotten a quick overview, let's talk a little more in depth about a restaurant manager's roles and responsibilities. Indeed lists some of the typical roles and responsibilities of a restaurant manager. Let's talk them through. First, they hire, train, and supervise the staff. The average hourly employee turnover rate for food service stands at 155%, according to the nation's Restaurant News. That's a lot of turnover. So a good portion of a restaurant manager's time is spent seeking out new, talented candidates who can hit the ground running and keep the restaurant going. They hire staff for the front of the house, and depending on the type of restaurant, the back of the house as well. They're also responsible for putting together staff schedules, filling gaps when team members call in sick or don't show up, handling payroll, resolving employee conflicts, helping employees with a variety of other issues, and creating a spirit of teamwork among staff members. To be really great at their jobs, restaurant managers need to know how to manage their time and juggle task priorities. It also doesn't hurt to have strong leadership and interpersonal skills. Second, they need to make sure employees are following proper food safety procedures and that the restaurant is a safe place to work. It might look boring and not very glamorous, but making sure a restaurant is safe and clean is a top priority if it's going to stay in business. Restaurant managers make sure food is prepared properly and in a clean environment. They ensure staff members are wearing the appropriate attire, including hats, hairnets, gloves, and more, and wash their hands. They also make sure employees are always keeping tables and tableware clean for the next guest. At the same time that they're worrying about food safety, managers are also responsible for the safety of their employees. They need to build a deep knowledge of OSHA and other regulations, and they need to make sure all their employees are trained on those regulations and follow them. So, as you can see, to be a good restaurant manager, you really need to be able to pay close attention to detail and have deep restaurant industry knowledge. Third, restaurant managers need to follow and enforce all other restaurant or company policies. This is where those strong leadership skills come in. The restaurant manager sets the standard for all other employees to follow. This starts by adhering to all restaurant policies concerning dress, behavior, customer service, presentation of food and drinks, and any other procedures laid out by the restaurant's owners or upper management. Managers need to show employees how invested they are in the restaurant's success every day. A manager who slacks off on the rules is encouraging their team to do the same, and that's when a restaurant suffers. It's a restaurant manager's job to ensure the restaurant meets its revenue objectives. Restaurant managers work closely with either upper management if the restaurant is part of a larger chain or with the owner of the restaurant. They report on monthly or quarterly revenue goals and whether they were met or not. They also help set the revenue goals and come up with ways to meet them. That might be by developing new, higher-priced dishes, redesigning the menu for more profitability, or devising new marketing ideas to help attract more customers. To do all that, managers should be good with budgets, have a mind for business, and have a flair for creativity. Fifth, the restaurant manager audits and orders supplies. Restaurant managers need to keep a close eye on inventory. Not only do they keep track of what inventory to order and when, they conduct audits for the front of the house supplies, including napkins, placemats, straws, and other items. And if there is no head chef, they conduct audits on supplies for the back of the house, including food, condiments, cooking utensils, and more. They closely monitor the restaurant's consumption patterns and determine how frequently supplies run out. They also figure out how the restaurant can save money by changing vendors or products. And they also monitor the inventory for theft. Once again, this part of the job calls for the ability to pay extreme attention to detail and stay organized. You can learn more about managing restaurant supply costs at 7shifts.com/blog/restaurant-food-cost. By going through a restaurant manager's responsibilities, you may be getting a clearer understanding of the kinds of skills a good restaurant manager needs. But let's talk about those skills and qualities in greater detail so you can start to determine which skills you already have and which skills you may still need to develop. 1. The first skill you need a lot of, if you haven't guessed, is leadership. Strong leadership skills and the ability to build a team-oriented work environment can help reduce one of the biggest problems a restaurant faces: high turnover. According to Gallup, a happy and engaged team reduces turnover by 24% in high-turnover industries, including the restaurant business. An inspired manager who leads by example and listens to his team's needs, while also giving clear direction, can help keep their staff happy and engaged, and that keeps them from seeking work elsewhere. 2. Restaurant managers also need to have good communication skills. Clear communication is a big part of being an effective leader. According to research conducted by the International Conference on Arts, Behavioral Sciences, and Economic Issues, communication gives the feeling of belonging and sense of partnership with employees working in the organization. When employees feel they have been heard and that they can communicate with their supervisors at any time, they feel more part of a group and are more motivated to work. This is true in any industry. Clear communication is especially important in restaurants, where the pace is quick, people are working in close quarters, and stress levels can run high. 3. People will be looking at you as a manager to make tough decisions. That's why you have to be good at problem solving and conflict management. Speaking of high stress levels, problem solving and conflict management skills are a must-have for a successful restaurant manager. In a white paper, the consulting firm Arbinger Institute estimated that every conflict costs an organization about $255,000 in lost time, lower productivity, poor decision-making, and even attrition. If you can communicate clearly and build a strong sense of team spirit, you'll likely be able to reduce the number of conflicts in your restaurant. But they'll still pop up, either between staff members or even worse, between staff and patrons. Being able to keep a cool head, listen to both sides, and negotiate a fair solution is key. But solving problems among your staff and customers is just part of the job. You'll also be called upon to solve snafu-like supply or food shortages, last-minute employee call-outs, or heaven forbid, emergency medical situations. It's important that a restaurant manager be able to think on their feet and know how to take action to solve unexpected problems quickly. 4. It goes without saying, to succeed at a job as challenging as being a restaurant manager, you need to have a positive attitude. A positive outlook is the key to keeping yourself and your staff going. In his book, The Positive Leader, former Microsoft Europe chairman Jan Mulfit emphasizes the power of positive psychology in motivating a team. To quote Mulfit, "Positive psychology is not plastering a cheesy smile on your face and making half attempts to look on the bright side and be nice to people in the office. It's about fostering a mindset and workplace culture that's been empirically proven to fuel greater success and achievement. Simply put, a positive, supportive manager usually inspires happy, engaged workers, and happy workers are the foundation for a successful business." Mulfate cites several studies that illustrate the effects of a positive attitude on a business's overall success, including a 2014 study by researchers at the University of Warwick in the UK. They saw a 12% spike in productivity with happy workers, and on the flip side, a 10% lag in unhappy ones. Focusing on the positive side of things will help inspire and motivate happy staff, reduce turnover, and add to your restaurant's bottom line. 5. And just in case you haven't heard it enough already, it's very important to be able to pay close attention to detail. From budgets to schedules to table settings, there are a lot of small yet important details a restaurant manager needs to keep track of, and no manager can keep it all straight all of the time. It's important to train yourself to quickly and carefully analyze situations and keep a vast number of tiny details straight in your head. Fortunately, there are plenty of handy apps and programs available to help you stay organized, including time tracking, scheduling, budgeting, and inventory apps. 6. The skill that ties all of these other skills together is flexibility. Now, imagine that everything we've mentioned above, budgeting, resolving conflicts, keeping track of staff, and inventory, gets thrown at you all in one shift. You won't need to imagine it if you're a restaurant manager, because it will happen. That's why you've got to be flexible, and you've got to be able to multitask. It's a good idea to set a plan for each shift, so you don't feel like you have to do everything all at once. For your breakfast shift, for example, you might plan to open, count the cash drawers, make sure everything is clean and in place for the day, and take care of some payroll work. Just remember that no matter how hard you try to stick to that plan, problems, distractions, and unexpected issues will probably intrude. Stay on your toes, learn how to switch gears when the situation demands, and you should be fine. So, after hearing all of this, do you still want to become a restaurant manager? Yes? Great. Fortunately, there are several ways you can go about developing the skills you need. Let's talk about them. The most likely way you'll build these skills is on the job. When you look at job boards, many of the entries don't list a college degree as a job requirement. Instead, many restaurants are looking for people who have experience in the restaurant business, either as servers, bartenders, assistant managers, hosts, or a little bit of everything. They want people who have been in the trenches, so to speak. People who have had proven success pleasing customers and problem-solving in the highly stressful restaurant environment. That being said, there is a place in the business for people with a more formal education. There are some restaurants who might prefer a managerial candidate with a college degree. The most common degrees in the restaurant industry, according to CareerBuilder, are business administration or management, culinary arts, accounting, or hospitality administration or management. Some colleges and culinary schools also offer degrees in food services management. While some more specialized or higher-end restaurants may require their managers have a degree, most will simply see candidates with a college education as having a slight edge. Certificate programs and massive open online courses, or MOOCs, are also great educational resources. Want to expand your skill set but don't want to spend a lot of money on higher education? You're in luck. There are certificate programs that can help. Many local colleges that offer related degrees may also offer certificate programs, which require much less time and money. Then there are MOOCs. These are online, often free courses from reputable colleges and institutions around the world. Coursera, which hosts classes in everything from art history to economics, lists a free course in food and beverage management. So, there you have it. Now you have the full scoop on what it takes to become a restaurant manager. So, are you ready to dive in? It's true what they say. Great leaders aren't born, they're made. If you've been working in the restaurant industry for a while, chances are you've already developed some of the skills you need to make that next step to restaurant manager. But if you feel like you could polish a few of those skills, there are plenty of restaurant management guides and resources to help you. You can see a list of them at 7shifts.com/restaurant-guides. But don't forget about getting some person-to-person help as well. Find a good mentor who can train you up. And remember, you don't have to spend a lot of money to do the coursework you might think you need. Look into certificate programs or MOOCs to get the business and soft skills you need. Or if you're feeling ambitious and want to shoot for a job at the more specialized and higher-end restaurants, look into getting a college degree. Taking that next step in the restaurant industry is very doable. Remember, it's all about having the skills and, of course, the right attitude to get the job done. Good luck.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the 7 Shifts audio series. To listen to more great content for restaurateurs, check out 7shifts.com/blog. Or to learn more about how 7 Shifts can simplify labor management in your restaurant, visit 7shifts.com.